Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Thursday, September 29th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Rutgers game is in 2 days, the game against Michigan in 58 days. We're going to take a brief diversion from our usual football-centered programming today to talk a little basketball. Chris Holtmann and the Ohio State men's team are starting to ramp up in preparation for what should be one of the more unpredictable seasons in program history. Between graduations, early NBA draft departures, transfers, medical retirement, a huge chunk of last year's team is now gone, and a whole new class of transfers and freshmen are there to replace them. So earlier this week, they held a preseason media day to take a look at just a little peek ahead at the season to come, meet some of the new guys. Today, you're going to get a chance to hear directly from Chris Holtmann and all about the season. And there is a lot to talk about. You know, one of the few returning players from last season is Justice Suing. He only saw action in 2 games last season before getting shut down for the year. The other veteran who missed a ton of time last year was Seth Towns. He was the one who ended up medically retiring, but Holtmann says that Suing, he's on track to be a very big piece of this year's team.
Well, the last time we saw him, he wasn't real good. That was Akron. He struggled in that particular game. So I think Justice looks great. He looks great, and he is healthy. I think he's a young man who's anxious. He's anxious to get out there. He's anxious to be healthy, and he really wants to stay healthy. And for a kid like him who had a whole season taken away from him, with the exception of that one game, you really want it for him. He was a really important part of our team that was a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament and had a good year, and he was going to be a really, really important part of last year's team. So he'll be a captain. We're excited about what he's going to be.
With as much turnover as there's been with the program, the freshman class is likely going to play a significant role for Holtmann at some point this season. The new guys are Bruce Thornton, he is a guard. Bone Hardman and Brady Gale are guards as well. Bryce Sensabaugh is a forward. Felix Expara is a center. So Holtmann was asked how much those guys are really going to be able to contribute this season.
Yeah, I think we have four freshmen that are all going to they're all going to play. They're all going to play a role in this group for sure. Bruce, Roddy, Bryce, and Felix are all capable of helping this team and playing. They'll go through some ups and downs. They'll have some challenges, but all 4 are going to play. You're going to see them a part of every game for sure, and we're excited about that. We're excited about the potential of that group for sure.
With such a young team and so many new faces all over the place, Holtmann said he's been taking things kind of slowly as they start to get things together so far this offseason.
It's been more than we've ever had to do, to be real honest with you. Maybe with the exception of our first year when we were implementing a different, coaching style, a different system. But it's been more than I've ever had to do, with this number of young guys. And it's not just that they're young guys, they're young guys that we're going to count on to play. So I think speeding up their development, we were just talking about it in film. There are things that probably we can't see right now even that are going to happen in games, and we're going to scratch our heads and say, where did that come from? Well, it's an experience. And you try to project and get ahead and see as much as you can some of the things that are going to come up, but we know there's going to be moments that are going to be head-scratching with those, just the general inexperience that those 4 are going to have. But if we can play them through that early in the year, we're excited about what it can be.
Now, you can't have a good freshman class without landing a bunch of good recruits, and Holtmann and his assistants did just that this year. So was that a function of having roles open for guys to be able to play early? Is this just the staff getting better at recruiting? Or did having a couple of guys drafted in the NBA this spring make a difference? What does Holtmann chalk that up to?
I would say it's a combination of all of those, maybe with the exception of NIL. I think we'll see that in the beginning part, but that's not been promised to any recruit. I think the uptick in recruiting has been really a collaborative work. I think we have a tremendous staff, and I would begin with that. I think we have a staff that has really worked at it. Listen, Clay, I'd be lying if I said that the NBA's success of 2 guys being drafted, Dwayne also being in the NBA right now, didn't play a role. It's played a major role. It was certainly a question. You're always going to get that question from recruits. Who have you as a head coach and as a staff produced in terms of draft picks or first-round draft picks. So the success of Malachi and EJ being a 3-year guy, Malachi being a one-and-done, no question plays a role. But I also don't want to minimize the tremendous effort of our staff. And you're right, it's clear that this class on campus and the one we hope to sign here in a few weeks is the best it's been. It's exciting.
Having all of these new faces can be exciting. There is certainly something intriguing about a program with a lot of freshmen, and it's very easy to dream on what they could be when March rolls around. But Holtmann knows there is a lot of work to do between now and then.
Well, I think it's to be determined. Like I said, this is, I could sit here and talk, but this is really about the quiet, lonely work of every day and figuring that out and growing together. We certainly did some of that this summer, but we're still defining what our group's going to be like. And I think more than any team I ever had, that'll be defined and will probably be pretty fluid as the year goes on, provided we can stay healthy. And that has certainly been a question with our group. I think the involvement of this group, how this group evolves, can be really exciting. But I think we're determining that on a day-to-day. We'll see how this group works over an extended period of time, and perhaps in a month or two I'll have a better answer.
With the transfer portal, you have seen a lot of turnover at a lot of college basketball and football programs over the last few years. So does Chris Holtmann think that a just complete turnover like the Buckeyes have this season, is that going to be the new norm in college basketball, or was this offseason kind of an anomaly?
Yeah, what I would tell you is most of college basketball has realized what I think sports world is starting to realize with college football. Listen, the transfer portal has been the transfer portal for years for college basketball. It just has been, there's been an uptick in the last 10 years. There's been, I talked to coaches on the road, they have 11 and 12 new players. And I talked to an SEC coach who's got 11 new players. He had 10 new players last year. It's not unique to any specific program. It is the way the sport is now and probably will continue to be. And that's why I appreciate you guys being here, because you get a chance to share the stories of this new group, 3 transfers and a bunch of freshmen. And hopefully our fans can embrace them, because they're a fun group to be around.
Finally, we do need to talk about the elephant in the room with the Ohio State basketball program last year, which is the defense was not great at long stretches. And, that has really not been a strength of the program for a little while now. Holtmann knows that needs to change if they're going to get to where they want to be.
We have not been good enough defensively the last 2 years. We have just not. We have not been good enough. And I think we have been tremendous offensively. We've been really, really efficient. The numbers would back that up. 2 top 15 teams offensively, but we have not been good enough defensively, and we weren't good enough on the glass either last year. So you combine those two things, and there's inevitably a ceiling. So I think a little more athleticism, more versatility, a little more length at the rim. I think were all things that we needed to address, because certainly you cannot have a poor offense. You got a ceiling if you have a poor offense, for sure. That's the reality. And just like it is in college football, in college basketball now, you have to be able to score. But we need to have considerably more balance in terms of what our numbers have been. And for 3 of our 5 years. We have been very good defensively. We just have not been the last 2 years.
Well, that Ohio State basketball season will start on November 1st with an exhibition game against Chaminade. Then on November 7th, they'll start the season for real, hosting Robert Morris. But between then and now, there's going to be a lot of football to talk about too. So we'll have basketball coverage once basketball season gets rolling a little more. But before then, going to be hearing a lot of football on here, which generally people don't seem to mind. And guessing you probably will not mind a whole bunch of coverage of this weekend's Ohio State-Rutgers game. If so, you've come to the right place. We will have pre- and post-game coverage on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BuckeyeHuddle, and all the great coverage that you've come to expect at BuckeyeHuddle.com as well. Our fantastic team of insiders covering recruiting, covering X's and O's, covering the team. It's all there at Buckeye Huddle. So sign up today, and also make sure you're subscribed at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. subscribe, hit that bell so you get notified so you can be part of our pre- and post-game shows on Saturday. Those are always a lot of fun, and they're even more fun. The more people who are there asking questions and made a part of the show, the better those shows are. So we hope to see you there. Again, youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.